How many times have you found yourself stuck in a conversation that goes absolutely nowhere? The weather's nice today. What do you do for work? Seen any good movies lately? Small talk, those painfully predictable exchanges we've all been taught are necessary social lubricants. But what if I told you that small talk isn't just boring? It's actually killing your chances of forming real connection. Think about it. When was the last time you walked away from a conversation full of small talk, feeling truly seen or understood? When was the last time weather chat made you feel closer to someone you're attracted to? The truth is, we've been doing it all wrong. And in today's world, where authentic connection feels increasingly rare, continuing to rely on small talk isn't just ineffective, it's costing you relationships that could genuinely matter. But here's where it gets interesting. The solution isn't more clever opening lines or better conversation starters. The answer is actually much simpler and much more profound. Today, I'm going to show you why small talk is dead and what to say instead if you want to create real chemistry, memorable conversations, and connections that actually go somewhere. Let's break down why small talk fails us so consistently. Small talk was designed for one purpose: safety. It's conversation without risk, questions without vulnerability, words without meaning. And that's precisely the problem. When you meet someone new, especially someone you're attracted to, playing it safe is actually the riskiest thing you can do, because safe conversations are forgettable conversations. Think about the people you feel most connected to in your life. Did those relationships begin with discussions about traffic and weekend plans? Or did something deeper happen? A moment of genuine sharing, a surprising revelation, a conversation that made you both feel something? Connection doesn't happen in the shallow end. It happens when we're willing to dive a little deeper. But here's what most people get wrong. Going deeper doesn't mean immediately sharing your childhood trauma or asking intensely personal questions that make the other person uncomfortable. That's not connection. That's boundary crossing. Instead, true connection comes from something I call meaningful curiosity. Meaningful curiosity happens when you ask questions that invite the other person to share something that matters to them, something that reveals their values, perspectives, or passion, while giving them complete freedom to decide how vulnerable they want to be. These questions feel refreshing because they break the script. They signal that you're not just going through the motion. You're actually interested in who this person is beneath the surface. So what does this look like in practice? Instead of asking, "What do you do for work?" try, "What part of your work feels most meaningful to you?" Notice the difference. The first question asks for a job title, a label. The second invites them to share what they value, what motivates them, what matters. Instead of, "How was your weekend?" try, "What was the highlight of your weekend?" The first is answered with good or busy. The second elicits a story, a moment, something specific that mattered enough to remember. Instead of, "Where are you from?" try, "What's something you love about where you live?" One asks for geography, the other reveals what they appreciate, what they pay attention to, what makes a place feel like home. These questions work because they do three crucial things at once. First, they show genuine interest. You're not just following a script, you're inviting real sharing. Second, they give the other person complete control over how deep they want to go. They can answer superficially if they're not comfortable, or they can share something more meaningful if they feel safe. And third, they reveal something about you, that you're someone who values meaning over small talk, who's interested in people beyond the surface level. Pause for a moment and consider how this might change your dating life. Imagine being the person who consistently creates conversations that people remember, not because you're the loudest or the funniest, but because you create space for something real to happen. This is where connection begins. But meaningful curiosity isn't just about the questions you ask, it's also about how you listen to the answers. Most people listen just enough to form their next response. They're waiting for their turn to speak rather than truly taking in what the other person is sharing. Real listening, the kind that makes people feel seen, involves genuine curiosity about the meaning behind their words. When someone shares something, resist the urge to immediately relate it back to yourself. Instead, get curious about what they've just revealed. If they tell you the highlight of their weekend was a solo hike, don't immediately jump to telling them about your own hiking experiences. Instead, you might ask, "What draws you to solo hiking rather than going with friends?" Or, "What do you notice when you're out in nature alone?" This kind of follow-up shows you're not just hearing their words, you're interested in understanding their perspective, their unique way of experiencing the world. And here's where the magic happens. When people feel genuinely understood, something shifts, their body language opens up, they become more present, the conversation develops a rhythm and depth that feels completely different from the stilted back and forth of small talk. But I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds great in theory, but isn't it awkward to suddenly start asking deeper questions? The answer is, it depends on how you do it. If you abruptly switch from weather talk to What's your deepest fear? Then yes, that's going to feel jarring and inappropriate. But meaningful questions don't have to feel heavy or intense. The key is to make these questions feel natural and contextual. You can ease into depth by building on something they've already mentioned, or by framing your question in a way that feels light while inviting something more substantial. For example, if you're talking about work, you might say, I'm always curious about what draws people to their field. What originally interested you about what you do? Or if you're discussing where they live, I've always thought you can tell a lot about someone by what they love about their neighborhood. What's your favorite thing about where you live? These questions feel conversational, not like interrogation, yet they open the door to more meaningful exchange. Let me give you a practical example of how this works. Imagine you're at a friend's gathering and you meet someone new. The typical approach might go, so, what do you do? I'm a graphic designer. Oh, cool. How long have you been doing that? About 6 years. Nice. Do you like it? Yeah, it's good. And the conversation already feels like it's running out of steam. Now, let's try a different approach. So, what do you do? I'm a graphic designer. That's interesting. What kind of projects light you up the most in your work? Do you see how this opens up so many more possibilities? Now they might share their passion for branding small businesses, or how they love the problem-solving aspect of design, or maybe they'll admit that their client work pays the bills, but their personal art is what really excites them. Whatever they share, you now have something meaningful to explore, something that reveals values, passions, challenges, or aspirations. And here's the beautiful part. This approach doesn't just create better conversations, it helps you identify compatibility far more efficiently than small talk ever could. When you ask questions that reveal values and perspectives, you quickly get a sense of whether this is someone you want to know better. You're not just passing time, you're actually discovering who they are and allowing them to discover you. This is especially powerful in dating, where compatibility is about so much more than shared hobbies or similar backgrounds. It's about aligned values, complementary perspectives, and the quality of energy you create together. But I want to be clear about something important. Meaningful conversation isn't about performing or impressing. It's not about having the perfect questions memorized or crafting responses that make you sound smart or deep. The most attractive quality isn't cleverness, it's presence, being fully there, genuinely curious, completely attentive to the person in front of you. In a world where divided attention is the norm, where most people are half listening while checking their phones or scanning the room for someone more interested, your full attention is the rarest gift you can give. So here's your challenge. In your next conversation with someone new, commit to being genuinely curious. Ask one question that invites something more meaningful than small talk. Then really listen to their answer, not to respond, but to understand. Notice how it feels different. Notice how the energy shifts. Because the truth is, we're all hungry for real connection. We're all tired of conversations that go nowhere. And most people are just waiting for permission to move beyond the surface, for someone brave enough to create space for something real. You can be that person. Small talk is dead, not because we don't know how to do it anymore, but because we've finally realized it was never really alive to begin with. So instead of asking about the weather, ask about what matters. Instead of collecting facts, seek understanding. Instead of filling silence, create space for meaning. The connections you make will be deeper. The conversations you have will be memorable. And the relationships you build will be founded on something real. Because in the end, it's not about saying the right thing. It's about creating moments of genuine human connection in a world that desperately needs more of them. And that begins with a simple choice: to be curious about the person in front of you, to listen with intention, and to bring your full self to every conversation. Small talk is dead. Long live real connection.